Hey guys, welcome back. This is Dava, aka Curvy Calories. I hope you're doing well. I just want to put a quick disclaimer here and say that this video could potentially be triggering. So please, if you are triggered at all by any type of eating disorder conversation, feel free to check out another one of my videos. Today's video is going to be my time in an eating disorder clinic. So, for those of you who have followed me for a while, you may or may not know that in January of 2015, I was self-admitted to a eating disorder clinic in New Jersey. I stayed there for approximately a month and a half, and I was in a program for partial inpatient treatment. The clinic that I went to did provide multiple layers of treatment. This was sort of a middle level. One level was, I believe, meeting 3 times a week. My level was a 5-time-a-week meeting, and you would have lunch and breakfast at the clinic, as well as meeting with a nutritionist, psychologist, and a doctor. And then there was a top level, which I believe was complete inpatient, and that was you basically sleeping and eating all of your meals on site. I want to start by saying a little bit about how this kind of happened. So I was seeing a therapist at the time for many other reasons, not just about my eating, and I mentioned to her that I was really struggling with my eating. And for the first time in my life, it wasn't necessarily that I was binging, it was that I was even restricting, and I was weighing myself multiple times a day, and I was losing the concept of what hungry felt like. And she said, it kind of sounds like you're suffering with an eating disorder. Have you ever considered talking to anybody besides me about this? So obviously I was open to that because I wanted to get healthy, right? So I went to this clinic and they gave me a questionnaire and talked to me a little bit about my symptoms. The questionnaire included questions like, how often do you weigh yourself? Do you count calories? Do you find yourself eating to the point where you are so full you're in pain? I'm not phrasing these correctly, but similar types of questions. And through that, they determined that I did in fact have an eating disorder, and that a partial inpatient program would be best for me. I was diagnosed with an eating disorder called diagnoses. It's also known as OSFED. It is called eating disorder not otherwise specified. And this eating disorder is basically displaying the characteristics of a few different types of eating disorder, so anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating disorder, but not falling underneath the requirements or guidelines for those eating disorders. So, for example, I was exhibiting anorexic tendencies, however, I was not underweight. Or I was binging, however, I was not overweight. Or, I was, binging and purging, however, I was not doing that every single day. So just so everybody knows, this is one of the deadliest eating disorders out there. They're all dangerous. However, this one goes unnoticed for quite a while because the person mostly appears to be healthy. They are usually within a healthy weight range. They are not doing these things so often that people are really noticing them. They might not even know themselves that what they're doing is disordered. So that is what I was diagnosed with. And in this program, as I mentioned, I was given a breakfast and a lunch. We were not to count calories. We were not to only eat what we wanted. You had to eat everything that was on your plate. Depending on your height and weight and disorder, you were given a specific amount of food to eat. It was all measured. So, for example, you had to have 1 dairy. So, like 1 cup of dairy. whether it be yogurt or milk for breakfast, and you had to have one fruit, whether it be a banana, an orange, an apple, or a glass of juice, like orange juice. Each thing was one of or two of. It wasn't in a disordered way. So there was no way for you to necessarily count calories. However, if you were good enough at counting calories, it was doable. A lot of the time, people struggled with finishing their whole meal. After you would eat, we would go into a therapy session and discuss how we were feeling. Again, you also met privately with a nutritionist as well as a psychiatrist who would discuss any medications that you may need, or just your overall mental health at that moment. I met so many amazing women in this program. They had all different types of struggles. Everyone was different sizes. Everyone had different personalities. It was amazing to be in the room with people who really were on the same page and understood what I was going through. It really helped me understand that what I was doing was disordered. And this is where I want to speak a little bit about when I noticed that I had an eating disorder. Throughout my whole life, I had been a little bit chubbier than everybody else or bigger than everybody else, but never excessive until I got to the 333 pounds that I started my journey at. And at that point, I obviously was having struggles with food, being that obese. I had never had struggles with restricting before, so this was something that was new. But I had always struggled with my relationship with food, and I think this was at the time where I knew that something needed to be done, and it wasn't just something I could handle on my own. When I was in the clinic, we were not allowed to see our weight. We were not allowed to discuss weight loss or weight gain with anybody else there, because it could be triggering and because you were trying to get away from that type of talk. So you were there to basically support each other. There was a lot of group therapy sessions, which were amazing. All of this to say, I wish my time there could have been longer. The reason that I was only there for about a month and a half was not my own decision. I was paying partially for my treatment as well as my insurance paying the other portion. And because I was complying with the meal plans and the guidelines that they had for me, I was eating the proper amount of food. I was not pushing back. I wasn't gaining an excessive amount or losing an excessive amount of weight. I was not in an unhealthy BMI. My insurance company stated that they would no longer pay for my treatment. I was told one day that my next day there would be my last. Which obviously was shocking because I did not feel in any way that I was prepared to leave. I felt like I was finally getting help for something that was very difficult for me to do my whole life. So it was very difficult for me to accept. I had made relationships with girls who I felt finally understood what I was going through, and I was going to have to say goodbye to them and end that portion of my treatment and really just tackle it myself. And I just didn't feel ready. Following that, a few months later, I moved to California, and I still was struggling with restricting and with food overall. It's not that I couldn't take what I learned there and apply it to my normal life, but it was very difficult to do that because I wasn't in the habit of that yet. My eating was still so disordered that it was very easy for me to fall back into that pattern. And so that being said, in October of 2015, about 8 months after I left the clinic, is when I stopped posting on Instagram. At that point, I was at my lowest weight ever. And in 2020, this year, February, I returned to Instagram about 100 pounds heavier than October of 2015. During those 5 years, I obviously ate a lot of food. I obviously struggled with how much food I was eating. I didn't eat the healthiest. So I do not believe that leaving the eating disorder clinic at that point was a good choice. And I really wish that it would have went differently. I don't think at this point in my life that an eating disorder clinic is the right way for me to go, because I truly feel like I am just so close to being healthy with my eating. I am doing so well this go around. For the past 6 months, as I've been posting on Instagram, this is probably the healthiest I've ever ate. Not only in the sense of what I'm eating or the types of foods I'm eating, but more in the sense of the amount of food I'm eating and how I feel about eating. Don't get me wrong, I still struggle. There are times where I feel so full that I have a panic attack. There are times where I don't even realize I haven't eaten because I am not too aware of my hunger cues. There are times where I forget to drink. There are times where maybe I don't forget and I just choose not to. There are times where I want to eat everything in sight and not stop. So I still struggle, and I think that this will always be a struggle for me, and that's okay. I have to accept that, but I just have to do my best. And I think that this is the best I've ever done, and that's why I do have the mental capability to make this video, because I do feel happy with the progress I've made on my own. And I can't wait to see where I'll be in a year and how my eating will be in a year, and just my overall health. I feel so great right now physically. I feel energized. I feel positive. My mental health has for sure gotten better as I've been eating like this. I feel clear. So anyone who is struggling, I just want you to know that you're not alone. It is such a hard thing to go through, and I absolutely feel for you. If you ever need support, you are more than welcome to reach out to me via Instagram. If you have any questions about my experience or any questions just in general, please feel free to write me on Instagram or comment below. I, again, am fully transparent and honest with you guys. There is no reason for me to hide anything. I think it's so important for us to speak up about mental health issues and really normalize things like this, because it is so common, and the more we talk about it, the less people will need to struggle in silence alone. So, I hope that this kind of provides some information about what being in an eating disorder clinic is like, how to go about getting treatment if you feel that maybe it's right for you, and just my overall experience. I will be making a video every week, so please keep an eye out. If you are not subscribed, please feel free to subscribe. And if you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Your support means so much to me. A lot of my viewers actually are not subscribed to my channel, so if you want to see future videos from me, please feel free to subscribe. I am thinking of doing a question and answer, and I'm also thinking of doing a your assumptions about me video and answering whether or not they are true. So lots of exciting things to come. And if you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see, please feel free to put them in the comment box below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.